Hello, this is John Nelson with Tulsa Community College Career Services with another one of our Fast Attack video series for our student veterans. This one is about job search techniques. So let's get right down to it. Job search techniques. First and foremost, what sounds great? Where would you like to work? What's something you've been interested in? Is there something out there that seems really fun and rewarding? Remember the old adage of take a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Also, remember here in school, you're investing a lot of time and money. We want you to be happy. We want you to have that job where you wake up on Monday morning and say, hey, here's what I get to do today versus, oh, what do I have to do today? That's the whole point. We want you to be happy. One of the best ways to figure things out, ask people about where they work. If you happen to know somebody that works at a certain company or even a department that you're very interested in, ask them. They'd be more than happy to share with you yays, nays, in betweens. That'd really be the best way to do that. We'll talk about networking here shortly because that is a vital part of the whole job search process. And again, veterans, it does not have to be something that you did in the military. It does not have to be an MOS. It doesn't have to be an NEC. It doesn't have to be an AFSC. There are plenty of folks out there that did one job in the military who are doing something completely different out here in civilian life. And like we talked about in the previous video, that has to do with transferable skills, but you're not locked down to what you did in the service by any means. I just mentioned networking. 60% of all hires are done through networking. Yes, you still need to submit your job applications online and get to know the folks, but it's so much about who you know, not always what you know, because the who you know leads you to tell your story about what you know. And again, 80% of jobs aren't listed online. Lots of times if somebody in a company or department hears about a job from a supervisor, then that's when they start figuring out and putting the dots together. And if you ask that question, hey, are they looking for work? They say, you know what? I just talked to my boss today and we've got this open. So again, this is why networking is so important. Even in this digitized, computerized age, it's still about networking. And again, research, learn about that employer, learn about any special requirements. What does it pay? What kind of dress is required? Are they going to provide uniforms? And what are the hours? There's one place that I can think of right off the bat that rotates shifts. You work a week at first shift, a week at second shift, a week at third shift, and sometimes people prefer that third shift or that second shift. So again, by researching that employer, you can learn all there is to know about that potential job. So moving on to applications here. Paper applications are going away. Less than 5% of jobs are started with a paper application. You might run into one at a job fair or a hiring event. So if you do, it's so very important. Now, this next bit of advice also works for job interviews, which we'll talk about later, as well as an application. But always have two forms of ID. It's a federal requirement. So you need a picture ID, such as a CAC if you still have that, a retired military ID, the blue card, driver's license, your TCC ID, any kind of photo ID that came from an official government site. You also are going to need either your Social Security, your CDIB, which is Certificate of Degree of Indian Blood, birth certificate, or passport. That shows that you are an American citizen. The first one shows who you are. The second one guarantees that you're having that eligibility to work as set forth in what they call the I-9. And again, on a paper application, be neat, be truthful, and don't leave a blank. If it doesn't apply, just put none or good old NA. The online application is where it's at. 95% of the employers are going to be using those. Most of the time when you do look for a job on any job site, or even if you talk to somebody networking, they say, yeah, I talked to my boss and he said, make sure that you go and apply online. This is what you're going to do here. So again, 95% of employers are going to be using that online application. That's the way all the software and all the trends are going. Again, make sure you meet the requirements. Don't apply for a job if you don't have those requirements, because it ends up being a waste of time for everybody. If you're a carpenter and you're applying for a plumbing job, what's the use kind of thing. So, and again, one thing that I've learned over the years, don't stop on that online application until you're done. I know of a couple of companies that would time you out. Now, I can't say exactly why, but the thought that I had was if you have trouble with an online application, then you're going to have trouble with their computerized inventory, their computerized everything. I mean, if you're having trouble with an online application, it might not be cut out to use the different programs and softwares that they use in their day-to-day business. Again, if it's timed, can you handle our computer-based system? So just keep that in mind. If you do it, knock it out in one sitting. Here's some more job search methods. Want ads and classified ads. It used to be you had to wait day to day to day for the newspaper to come out and say, okay, well, what's happening today? Well, now that everything is computerized, they probably update them on the spot. So it doesn't hurt to check those online newspaper want ads and classified ads on a very regular basis, 2, 3, 4 times a day, to make sure that they're being updated on their websites. It's a lot easier than running the presses. Career websites, results can vary. In the old days, it used to be somewhere between 1.5 and 3.5% success rate. But with the way everything is going online and digital and everything, those things can really, really be a plus and a good place to search. However, there have been some reports of some websites having possible spam. So just exercise those same cautions that you would anytime you go on any website. Job fairs. Now, this is the face-to-face. Not a lot of that going on right now with COVID. But again, job fairs are a multi-purpose tool that you can use to knock out and check off a lot of the boxes. Number one, you're talking to employers face-to-face. Number two, even if you're not looking for a job, this is the best way to practice to make perfect. That way you're going out there, you're talking to people, you're knocking the rust off, you're not going to be nervous when the time comes for you to actually go out and be looking for that job. This way you get a feel for how to talk to folks, what they're looking for. I can't recommend it enough. If you're really curious about who's going to be there so that you can really focus in and target on the employers in your particular field, call the sponsors, call the points of contact. Most of the time, all the major job fairs here in town have a listing of which employers are going to be there, and you can sit there and literally check off the grocery list. Here's exactly who I want to talk to. If you go to a job fair hiring event, please, please, please dress properly, because it's all about getting that interested employer. And what you're really doing is you're showing respect with the attire that you wear to not only a job interview, but a job fair and a hiring event. So I like to think of it this way. I drive an old truck, headlight burned out. So I went to the store and I found it. They were there. But the front box that had that headlight in it was torn and crumpled and it looked like they played soccer with it. So of course I reached and I grabbed the box that was in the best shape. It's the same thing with your interview attire. If you come in wrinkled and out of spec, so to speak, and everything else like that, that employer might lose interest. But if you come in representing and they see that, they're going to connect the dots and say, this is how they're going to represent my company, my department, my division, my employee. So proper dress is always going to equal that interested employer. So what can I do now? I mentioned networking. I cannot mention networking enough. Talk to your instructors, your professors, your teachers, people that you know, people that you socialize with. Even right now, if you're not seeing people face to face, there's still email, there's still Zoom, there's still FaceTime, Instagram, all of the above. Stay in touch with folks. If you're looking for work, they're going to point you in that right direction, and they may know something. But when you network, what you're doing is you're throwing a rock in the pond and you're watching those circles expand and reaching a lot of people. Work on your resume. I've done a previous video here about resumes, but feel free to get a hold of us. We can take care of that and help you. I'll show you how to do that here in just a minute. But work on your resume now. Focus on what you have to offer. Do what's called the elevator speech. This is when you get in touch, even on Zoom and all these other FaceTime applications you're using right now. The elevator speech is basically a 30-minute pitch to sell yourself. Here's what I bring to the company. Hi, my name is John Doe. This is my experience. This is my educational background. This is what I've done, and I'd love to work for your company, basically is what it comes down to. Research that company. Who's hiring? If you're a veteran, federal contractors are always looking for veterans to hire. And there are a lot of veteran-focused, veteran-friendly, if you will, companies that are out there. Employers love veterans. So just get a feel for who's hiring and what the trends are right now. The trends are absolutely in the service industry. Looking at Walmart, Aldi, places like that. Necessities that people have to have, even though we're pretty much locked down in our homes. They still have to go and get the basics, and that's the type of companies that are hiring right now. Practice interviewing, job fairs, hiring events. If you have to, look in a mirror and do it that way. Make sure that you're dressed properly. Do all the things. Look in that mirror and just see how you look to that. And that is a great way to do that. It's kind of like, bouncing a tennis ball off the wall when we were little. That was one way to play catch without having to have somebody there. So practice that interviewing. Polish your written image. This is so very important. Your written image isn't just your resume. Think about all of the social media that's out there right now. Make sure that any of your content on any searchable website where you would post any kind of social media, make sure it's painting a good picture of you, because employers do check those sites out, and it's about 50-50. Half will make a positive recommendation if they find something great. Another half will say, you know what, I saw this on such and such website about this potential candidate. I don't think we want them. So polish that written and online image. And present a professional appearance. Anytime you go and talk to somebody in the hiring realm, always look your best. I'm not talking about wearing a suit every time, But even if it's something along the lines of khakis and a button-up shirt, make sure they're ironed. Make sure that you pay attention to that detail, almost an inspection-ready uniform, if you will. Here's how we can help at Career Services. First of all, career assessments. We can find those potential career matches through personality and interest testing. It's not really a test, it's more of an assessment. It's based on Myers-Briggs and Holland. Between the two, we can usually find some pretty good matches and some pretty good locks on the type of interest that you would have and find that job that's going to make you happy. Right now, it's very easy to do through email. We can get you to those websites. We can interpret the scores and we can email you literature. They can say, hey, have you considered this job? Or this job family will really match what you're looking for according to your interests and your personality and that type of thing. So easy to do through email and website. Resume and cover letter assistance. Absolutely. If you've got a resume that you're working on, email it to us. We'll be more than happy to give it a look, help you out, point out, numbers, concise language, you name it. Anything we can do to help with that, email it to us. We can absolutely help you with that. Mock interviews. Practice makes perfect, like I was talking about. If you have an interview coming up and you'd like to have a practice run at it, let us know. We'll create questions specific to that job to give you as close to a real world field as possible. And again, since we're all on Zoom, it's very much a possibility. Let us know, we can help with that. And again, we've got our own unique TCC electronic job board site. When employers contact us, we send them right to that site. They put their jobs on there, they're approved same day. And it's a great way to figure out what kind of employers are looking for TCC students. Again, visit us online. Here's our website right here, tulsacc.edu, and it tells you how to get there. But if you just go to the main big blue page, tulsacc.edu, go to the fourth one over, which is Student Services. The third one down in that drop-down block is Career Services, and it is an absolute comprehensive page with all the information and services we offer. We're on Facebook. Facebook is where we post our latest and greatest. We've even got a list of who's hiring right now. I mentioned some of those companies beforehand, but anything in the service industry, anything in the necessities of life industry, if you will, those things are posted right now. And of course, email careerservices@tulsacc.edu. Again, careerservices@tulsacc.edu. Give us a shout. We're here to help. Thank you for dropping by. I'm glad that you came and had a look at this video. Here's my contact information here. Feel free to shoot me an email, john.nelson@tulsacc.edu. We look forward to being of assistance to you. Even though it's crazy, we found ways, improvise, adapt, and overcome. So we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.